Open, just didn't want to work. So people will trickle in now that everything's open. So good morning, guys. Nice to have you. We'll get started in just a sec, but if you have it available, I'm going to recommend that you grab a strap today. Maybe that's going to be an actual yoga strap. Maybe it'll be a bathrobe tie. I'm going to use a belt today. Also dog leashes, anything like that, if you have it available. If you have or use 2 blocks or 2 books, whatever you're using as support in your practice, I'm going to recommend that you grab that. And if you have a meditation bolster or like a little pillow or blanket that you'd like to use this morning to help support the body, I'm going to welcome you to find that as well. And so my friends, it's nice to have you this morning. It's a beautiful day out there after a little bit of that rain. And as always, if there's anything in particular that you need in your body this morning, you're always welcome to unmute yourself if you'd like and let me know, or if that feels too much, you can always use the little chat button and send me a note privately at any time during the class. And it blinks, so usually I can get up and see what's going on. But otherwise, I think we're going to start on the back this morning. We've been starting a lot in our seated meditation, and why don't we start on the back? So this is where I am going to recommend, again, you're going to use a strap, but please, if you don't have props in your practice this morning, I don't want you to stress out about it. It's not a big deal. There's always ways to modify for that. So we're going to start on the back with our strap, if available, at our side. And a couple of different options here. Always listening to the low back spine. So as we begin on our back, if you're noticing that the hips are feeling tight this morning, you can draw the soles of the feet together, open the knees wide for a little Supta Baddha Konasana. Or that feels too much for the low back, you can always keep the knees bent, knees can draw towards the midline, the feet can draw a little wider. Or listening always to the energy in the body, listening always to what you also need in the mind. If it feels best to just simply start by stretching out and taking up space, that's an option for you too. And so no matter what you've chosen, realizing that your choice is the best for you today, remembering when we move from a place without ego and from a place of joy, that all the decisions you make in both body and mind are right for where we are today, right for now. Beginning to draw the tailbone down in towards the mat, you'll feel the frontal hip points gently pick up. If you've chosen knees open wide, softly rolling the outer edges of the thighs down towards the earth. Big toe finds the big toe, little toe finds the little toe. Space between the ears and the shoulders, and maybe the arms open wide today, and you take up all the space you need. Or maybe the palms are on the belly, and you're just feeling and noticing the natural, unhindered cadence of the breath. We talk about a lot in our classes together, anything from philosophy to anatomy to emotional states to food. We go all over the place. But there's a few of our core parts of the ancient practice that I find really valuable. Not just in this position we are now, but just the way we move forward through life. And one of my favorites is Ashteya. Ashteya, when we look at it from far away, when we come back to that philosophy from Patanjali. It just looks like non-stealing, which seems simple. Just don't take other people's stuff. What's yours is yours, and unless it's gifted or we work for it or have an exchange, other people's things, we just don't steal. But when we look at it a little bit deeper, kind of like moving from a Monet, a big picture, to a smaller picture, we begin to find all those intricate details and the colors, and come to a concept where Asteya can also be non-stealing from self. That can be translated into self-sabotage, burnout, or really not listening to what the body or the mind need and only going on the ego, or even stealing other people's energy. So it is from this place where we invoke the breath, Ujjayi, victorious breath. Back of the throat softly closes, the inhale, exhale comes out just through the nose. Knowing that there's no need to steal the energy from others. There's no need for anything that we don't already have with our two hands. For we can change the energetics of the body with the energetics of the breath, change our responses, and choose what we need for the here and now. As always, I leave you in a moment of silence to just gently follow your breath. Drop in, my friends. A few more rounds of breath. Last two breaths, as always, we'll take together. Big inhalation through the nose. Big open mouth exhale. Unlocking the jaw, letting everything just soften. And one more here. Big inhale deep through the nose. And that big exhale. Maybe it's a sigh today. Maybe it's quiet. Maybe it's loud. If the legs are long, you can just gently bend at the knees, soles of the feet flat on the mat. Otherwise, if you're here like me, Supta Baddha Konasana, just gently draw the knee when moving from the core. Knees will softly rise back up towards the sky, and we'll hug both knees in the chest for Apanasana, knees to chest pose. Maybe a little rocking, maybe a little rolling, maybe the toes are gonna wiggle. Or you can even release the knees themselves and find little circles, massaging the lumbar spine, little bit of room for the kidneys. Taking another deep inhalation here. And on the exhale, knees will gently stay drawn into the chest. We'll keep the right knee hugged into the chest and extend the left leg straight out away from the body. If that feels too much on the low back spine, you can always bend the left leg at the knee and place the sole of the foot down on the mat. Otherwise, now we'll collect our strap at our side. And remember, if you don't have one, you can always just use the back of the hand against the back of the hamstring. We'll take the strap, loop it around the ball or the sole of the right foot. And the inhalation, Supta Padangusthasana 1, hand to big toe pose. Reaching out evenly through the heel, letting the shoulder heads release away from the ears and unhiking the right hip away from the right shoulder. Seeing if you can really ground and iron down the left hamstring. Using the low abs, staying out of the psoas, the hip flexor. Another big inhale here. Always coming back to noticing the quality of the breath and the state of the mind. And from here, we'll take both straps into the right hand. Left hip will stay rooted and solid. Inhalation, right leg draws out away from the body, rolling the entire leg bone in the hip socket. So the heel gently lifts towards the sky. The toes come down towards the earth. And notice if the left hip is trying to lift. It usually does. You can either gently push down onto the left hip itself or really begin to lock the front ribs in towards the hip points, using the low abs. Shoulders are soft, no effort where it doesn't need to be. Belly pulls in, inhale, right leg rises back to the sky. We'll softly switch the grip of the straps and gently allow for that top leg to cross over the body, 4, 6, 8 inches, just enough to feel the outer edge of the right hip open, but not so much that the right hip is lifting. Noticing if there's any tension in the jaw already, or in the space around the eyes. Inhale, right leg draws back up to the sky, and we'll find half happy baby. Choices here. You can keep your little friendly strap and just allow for the right leg to bend at the knee. Or if you prefer, you can ditch your strap, reach for the outer edge of the right sole of the foot. And remember, you can always take that bent left leg option if it feels too much in the body. You'll stay in half happy baby down on your back. But I'm gonna get up so that you can hear me a little better. Take one more big breath in on the back with that inner right thigh softening against the right torso. Big exhale, just let everything be gentle this morning. And from here, we'll softly release the outer edge of the right foot or the strap itself and hug both knees in towards the chest, Appanasana, knees to chest pose. Nice long warm up this morning, my friends. Really getting into the hips, really getting into the hamstrings and the quads. And we'll just be switching sides, keeping the left knee hugged into the chest. Inhalation, extend the right leg out and away from the body, right foot flexed at the ankle, choosing bent leg or straight leg option. We'll find our strap at our side once again, looping it around the ball or the sole of the left foot, and that inhalation draws the left leg back up towards the sky. Noticing if the left hip feels any different than the right. It usually does. And when we notice those differences between the sides of our body, we can start to begin to see when we move in our everyday life, if we're over or under compensating, and how we can find that balanced movement, how we can move away from suffering, move away from pain. Both straps will draw into the left hand, right hip stays rooted. Inhale, left leg draws out and away from the body, soup to 2. Again, inner left thigh spins up towards the sky. Outer left hip gently draws down. The toes are pointed towards the floor. The right side of the body rooted and grounded. Tailbone still drawing away from the crown of the head. Belly will pull in, inhalation, left leg rises back up. Switching the grip of the straps, we'll find our IT band stretch. Letting that lifted leg gently cross over the torso again. Rolling the inner right thigh down. Those right toes are gonna try to go rogue. Can you keep the whole right side of the body stoic and strong? Take another round of breath. Let the pose come from the breath. And then inhale, left leg draws back up to the sky. And we'll find half happy baby once again, Ardha Ananda Balasana. Bending just the left leg at the knee. stacking the ankle over the knee, and either the choice to keep the strap if the left shoulder is lifting, or get rid of the strap this morning and reach for the outer edge of the left sole of the foot. So with Ashtea, instead of always thinking about it in the material sense, of being able to literally pick up an object and take it for ourselves, do we, or have we had it done to us where someone actually takes our emotional space or doesn't provide the same emotional space that we're asking for or we're needing? When we get to choose, we get to listen and create what we need. One more big inhalation here, deep into that left hip. Big exhale, maybe it's open mouth, let it feel juicy this morning. And then again, the gentle release of either the strap or the outer edge of the left foot. We'll hug both knees into the chest, resetting the spine. Big deep breath into the back ribs, lifting the back ribs, drawing them down into the mat as you inhale. And the exhalation softly rolls you off to your side. We'll pick ourselves up and off the mat, and we'll come to meet one another in tabletop position. Remembering if the knees are sensitive, you can always place a blanket or a little extra padding under the knees. Otherwise, shoulders over the wrists, fingers spread wide, shoulder width distance. And we untuck the toes unless you're modifying, moving into cat-cow. The inhale pulls the heart up, lifts the tailbone, opens the belly. And the exhalation rounds, separating the shoulder blades, really drawing the navel up and in. Inhale, back through. Shins are parallel, big toe, little toe down on the mat. And the exhale, again, the round, unlocking the jaw, letting there be space in the spine. Moving through cat-cow on your own breath as always, your fingerprint. Listening to your body, remembering maybe today you're going to move faster than me. Maybe you're going to move slower than me. And as most of you know the way I teach, I don't offer child's pose at times during class because you get to choose when you take child's pose. Which means, as always, if today is a day where you just want to stay in child's pose, you can do that. Practice without ego, just practice with joy. Take any variations or modifications here and always you desire. Maybe it's gazing over the shoulder, maybe it's barreling the belly, or flipping the wrists, finding that gentle pressure on the back of the hand to close the joint. Wrist health is always so important. Taking 2 more inhales, 2 more exhales. And maybe that second exhalation, maybe that's open mouth here. Maybe it's loud, maybe it's soft. And whenever you find your second exhalation, coming back into tabletop position, pulling the navel up and in, and we'll step back to plank pose, top of a push-up. Long line of energy in your plank. Inner thighs are pulling up to the sky. The heels are elevated, the toes are spreading, and there's a gentle lift from the pit of the abdomen as you choose to push the ground the way you choose to rise. And then can there be the softness of the breath? Can the focus be on the inhalation and the exhalation to allow the body to work with you? Please remember at any time, knees can be used, but you've got 2 more inhales, 2 more exhales here. Beginning to find a little Agni, beginning to find a little fire. And the second exhale, whenever that arrives for you, is downward facing dog. Lifting the hips up towards the sky, hinging. And then maybe taking a little bit of movement here. Maybe pedaling out the legs, bending an elbow, nodding the head. Maybe it's simply a moment of stillness. But as the fingertips are wide, palms are shoulder width apart. Maybe they're a little wider this morning if you have tight shoulders. Lifting the heads of the shoulders away from the mat. Rolling the triceps down and under. Really allowing for freedom in the spine and the shoulders today. Take another big inhale here. Adho Mukha, downward dog. Take another big exhale. And from here, my friends, we begin to work. Inhalation, shift forward, plank pose, top of a push-up. Exhalation, downward facing dog, moving like that wave. Inhale, drawing forward, plank pose, shoulders over wrists. Exhale, downward dog, lifting from the pit of the navel. Just one more here like this. Inhale, drawing forward, plank pose. Exhale, downward facing dog. From here, right leg lifts, three-legged dog, right foot flexed at the ankle. Exhale, right knee, right elbow, a little bit of core, pull everything in. Inhale, back up to the sky, three-legged dog. Exhale, knee to nose, can they touch today? Inhale, back up, it's long. Exhale, cross the body here. Back to three-legged dog. Lift the right leg up to the sky. Pause here, bend the right leg at the knee. Begin to open up the first side of the hip. And maybe you're just gonna roll the upper leg bone in the hip socket. Maybe it's just the toes that wanna move this morning. But remember, if flipping the dog is calling to you, if that feels joyful for you on a Taco Tuesday, please take it. But let the core be engaged, pulling the tailbone to the back of the heel. Beautiful choices, everyone, this morning. Another big round of breath. Wherever you are, it's the right choice, it's the right place. And then we'll all meet one another in three-legged dog. Straightening the right leg once again, leveling the hips, and we'll release the right leg down towards the mat for downward facing dog. Inhale, shift forward, plank pose. Right toes hover up off the mat. That's our floating plank. Can you find the inhale as you're pushing out of the energy out of the right heel? Big breath in, long spine, no rounding. Exhale, right knee, right elbow, and coming from floating plank. Inhale to straighten the leg. This is all core, this is all stability. Exhale, knee to nose. That's safety, that's strength. Inhale to lengthen. Last one like this, my friends. Exhale, cross the body. Floating plank, big breath in, stretch out through the right leg, and we'll find our vinyasa. Pushing over the left toes, lowering halfway down for your chaturanga. Untuck the toes, inhale, heart forward, upward facing dog. Maybe it's cobra this morning. And the exhale rolls over the toes, downward facing dog. Big breath in, Adho Mukha. Big exhale, maybe it's open mouth. One more here, big breath in, fill the belly. Big exhalation. And we'll just gently switch sides. Left leg lifts, my friends. Three-legged dog, left foot flexed at the ankle. And from here, exhale, left knee, left elbow. Maybe everything touches on the left side. Back to the sky, big breath in, three-legged dog. Exhale, knee to nose. Really lift the pit of the abdomen. Inhalation, lengthen. Last one in this style. Exhale, cross the body. Coming back to three-legged dog with your breath. Pausing here and bending the left leg at the knee as we begin to open up our second side of our hip. And whatever you found on the first side, I'm going to highly recommend that you find here. We want balance on both sides of the body. And remember, that sense of ashteya, that sense of non-stealing, even from yourself in your practice. What do you actually need? And can you release what you don't need? Another big round of breath here. And we'll all meet one another in three-legged dog. Left leg rises to the sky, big inhale. Softly releasing the left leg back down to the mat. Adho Mukha, downward dog, big inhalation. Big exhalation. And we'll shift forward, plank pose, top of a push-up. Left toes will hover, floating plank. Can you imagine you're pushing into a wall with the heels? Spread the toes, let them work for you. No dipping in the shoulder blades, push the ground away. Big inhale here. Exhale, left knee, left elbow from floating plank. Inhale, lengthen out, touch everything. Exhale, knee to nose, but no rounding. Inhale, back up, big long spine. Exhale, cross the body, last one like this. Floating plank, big inhalation. And we'll find our vinyasa, pushing over the toes, lowering halfway, elbows align over the shoulders. The inhalation is your back bend, engage the navel, lengthen the tailbone. And the exhale rolls over the toes, hips up and back, downward facing dog. From down dog, big breath in to fill the belly. Exhale, bend the knees, step or float to the top of the mat, lifting halfway on arrival, inhalation, lengthen. And the exhale is the forward fold. In your forward fold, feet are hip width distance. Maybe they're a little wider, heels behind the second toes. And I'm gonna invite you to choose the variation you need here. Maybe it's reaching for the elbows and a little bit of movement. Maybe it's reaching for the big toes with the peace fingers and finding even more length of the spine. Maybe it's nothing at all. We forget that nothing is also an option. And it's just as much of a choice, doing versus non-doing. And sometimes non-doing serves more than doing. Just matters where we are today. Find another big inhalation here, fill the belly. Big exhale, releasing whatever option you chose. And rooting down to the feet so we can rise. Inhalation up to the sky, upward facing hands, mountain pose. Exhale, dive right back down, heart towards the knees, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana, shoulder blades flat on the back. Exhale, forward fold. Back to the sky, big breath in. What are we reaching for? What are we lengthening for today? And the exhale dives right back down, heart towards the knees. Inhale, halfway, that's all length. Exhale, forward fold. Back up, big breath in. That's your active recovery, my friends. We build on. Exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway lift, Ardha. Exhale, Vinyasa, move through. Bend the knees, plant the palms. Either step to plank or the light hop to Chaturanga if you want to land in the halfway float. Choose the back bend that feels juicy this morning. Up dog, cobra, or maybe it's no back bend at all. From downward facing dog, inhale deeply. Exhale, bend the knees, step or float, top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhalation, rise back up to the sky. One breath, one movement, but it's your breath. Exhale, dive right back down. How long can you be? Inhale, halfway. Exhale, vinyasa, move through. Every vinyasa is a choice, which also means you can choose to skip it. Because we know 90 million chaturangas does not a practice make if it doesn't feel right. From Adho Mukha, inhalation. Exhale, bend the knees, step or float, lift halfway, inhale. Exhale, forward fold. Last one like this, inhalation, rise. Let the breath be what drives you this morning. Exhale, dive right back down. How long can you be? Inhale, halfway. Exhale, vinyasa, move through. We'll all meet in downward facing dog. You get to arrive there the way you need to arrive. From Adho Mukha, whenever you're there, right leg lifts, inhalation. Exhale, warrior two. Front heel, back arch alignment. Keeping that front bent knee over the ankle, letting everything be soft and long. Inhalation, reverse the warrior. Maybe you're gazing up towards the sky. Exhale, back into warrior two. Let the breath be the control of the practice. Inhale, fill all sides of the lungs. Exhalation, windmill the palms down towards the mat. Step back to plank, optional vinyasa, or hips up and back for downward facing dog. Please remember, when we move with one breath, one movement, you have the opportunity to pause at any time. From Adho Mukha, left leg lifts, inhalation. Exhale, Vira two, warrior two, second side. Kicking that back heel out a touch. Really letting the arms be wide, touching everything. Inhale, reverse the warrior. Viparita Virabhadrasana, open the ribs. On the exhale, comes back into warrior two. Separate the shoulder blades. One more here. Inhale, active recovery. On the exhalation, windmill the palms down to the mat. Step back to plank, optional vinyasa, or hips up and back for downward facing dog. Really keeping your alignment in Chaturanga. Keeping the shoulder blades flat on the back. Outer arms hugging into the body. Inhalation in downward dog. Exhale, bend the knees, step or float, top of the mat. Inhalation, lengthen, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, forward fold. Your inhale is chair, Utkatasana, coming up and out of the thighs, maybe changing the foundation of your feet today as we were at hip width distance. So if you want to roll a little traditional, heel toe the feet in, big toes touch, small space behind the heel. Notice if you're going into your low back spine here, what I lovingly call duck butt, it's the anterior tilt. And we often do that to try to get really low. So tucking the front ribs in, lengthening the spine, and then drawing down in a long line of energy. Notice the quality of the breath here. Big inhale, fill the belly. Big exhale. One more here in chair, Utkatasana, inhalation. And the exhale is the forward fold, let everything go. Inhale, halfway, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, Vinyasa, move through. We'll all meet in downward facing dog. You get to arrive there, as always, the way that feels best for you on this Taco Tuesday. From Adho Mukha, right leg lifts, inhalation. Exhale, high crescent lunge. Anjaneyasana, front bent knee over the ankle, squaring the hips, really pulling that right hip back as you reach up towards the sky. Unhike the shoulders. Let there be grace and ease in all of the spaces. Knee taps, cactus arms, my friends. Exhalation, open the heart, draw the back knee down. Inhale, back up to the sky. Exhalation, all the way down. Maybe you gaze up, tailbone down. Inhale, back up. Here's your last one. Exhalation, maybe it's your lowest, maybe it's your fiercest. Back up, high crescent lunge. Hand choices are yours, my friends. Up to the sky or hands to the heart if you prefer. Moving into warrior three. Soft lift, no momentum, up and off that back leg as we find that T shape. Remember, you can always use a wall. You can use your blocks. Don't let the ego get the best of you in your practice. I'm going to invite you in your warrior three this morning, if you feel comfortable enough to do it, to close the eyes and notice where the focus of the energy is in your body. Can you lower the right hip to match the left and push out through the lifted leg the way you did in floating plank? It doesn't need to be perfect. Tucking the front ribs. You have one more inhale. Stability comes from the inside. We have to remember we can trust. And the exhale, soft bend of the front knee. See how slow you can land back into high crescent, trusting that everything's right underneath you. From here, inhalation, lengthen a little more. Exhale, hands draw to the heart. Inhale, crown of the head away from the tailbone, fold over the front thigh. Exhalation, gentle twist. Twisted, high crescent lunge. Outer left elbow, outer right thigh. If your left thigh is fatiguing, first of all, I wouldn't be surprised. Let's say thank you to your left thigh. Remember, you can always bend the left knee and release it down to the mat. You can open up the arms here maybe and gaze up towards the sky. But let there be length in the back of the neck. And beyond all, let there be breath. Notice what you're thinking about here. Does that thought serve you? From here, my friends, we're going to be softly moving into twisted chair, which means hands will come back to the heart if you chose a different option. Seeing if you can keep your bind today. Belly will pull in. You'll softly push off the back toes and gently land in your twisted high. Maybe here you'll open up the arms. Maybe you'll pull the belly in a little bit more. Maybe you'll sit a little deeper in your twisted chair. Maybe you won't. But can you roll the obliques up to the sky? And let every breath inhale and pull the crown of the head away from the tailbone. Take one more big deep breath. And that big exhale. Inhalation, unfurl, back into chair. Big breath in, Utkatasana. What are you reaching for today? What is actually worth your time? And the exhale is the forward fold, letting that go. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, vinyasa, move through. We'll meet in downward facing dog. Remembering, you can skip the flow if you don't need it, and simply step back to downward facing dog. When you arrive in down dog, inhale, shift forward, plank pose, and lower all the way down to the belly. Untucking the toes when you arrive, reaching behind you, interlacing the fingers behind the low back spine. Option to always use your strap. Feet stay down, half locust posed, Ardha Shalabhasana. Rolling the shoulder heads back, lifting the quads up away from the knees as the heart lifts up and off the mat. Really ground the top of the feet today. Can you spread the toes? Lengthen the tailbone, that's all core. Back bends are core. And you may not be in the room directly with your neighbor, but they're working with you. So maybe you find that extra breath that lifts you and your neighbor together this morning. Take one more inhale, let it be the deepest. And the exhale lets everything go, softly melting back down into the mat. No effort. Here's your opportunity of non-doing. When I first started practicing yoga, way before I was a teacher, obviously, I was the person in class who couldn't sit still. Big surprise. Who always wanted to do the hardest version of everything, even if it literally just killed me. I mean, my big joke is that after my practices, I would need like 2 espresso and a nap. I was stealing my own energy by feeling that I needed to be something here, but there is no here. And there is no here in the practice. There is just your practice, never comparing it to somebody else's. So I welcome you every time you find that moment of rest here, right now. Can you listen or entertain listening to what you actually need? And yeah, it may be the hardest version today. Yeah, if so, congratulations. It may not. Either way, that's okay. With that said, my friends, forehead comes back to center. We'll reach back, re-interlace fingers, opposite awkward way. Awkward grip, Ardha Shalabhasana, awkward grip, half locust pose. Ground the feet, pull the navel in, your inhale lifts you. Let the belly pull in, roll the shoulder heads back. Think about presenting the heart and notice where you're gazing. Are you looking up and is it kinking the neck spine? Pull out of the shoulder heads. Longer hold here, my friends, with options to move into different poses. You can stay here, come out of this whenever you need to. Otherwise, gently release the interlacing of the fingers and let the fingers and palms rest by your side hips. Moving into full Shalabhasana, full locust, keep the heart elevated. Inhalation, let the thighs fly. Long line of energy as you lift out of the frontal hip points and tuck the navel in even more. Notice the fire in the belly. Instead of shying away from it, can you go to where the strength is forged? Staying here, my friends. Otherwise, inhalation, sweep the fingertips towards the front of the room. Palms face one another. You'll have to decide why you're lifting and what you're lifting for. Big inhale here. The exhale releases the hands back by the side hips, traditional locust pose. And the exhale, non-doing. Once again, full release of the body back down towards the mat. Option to move the hips. Option to windshield wiper the legs. Option for nothing at all. Always your choice. And just notice what you're actually thinking about. Whenever it's hard, if it is hard, I like to think of it as a space of limitlessness instead of difficulty. May we not limit ourselves. Belly pulls in, my friend. Forehead comes back to center. Ground the palms by the side ribs. Tuck the toes. Inhale, plank pose. Knees are there. Choose what you need. And the exhalation, hips up and back for downward facing dog. Big breath in, down dog. Exhalation, bend the knees, step or float to the top of the mat, lift halfway, inhale. Exhale, forward fold, feet are hip width distance. Inhale, rise up towards the sky. Little Surya Namaskar, amuse bouche. Exhale, forward fold, let everything melt. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, flow through vinyasa. We'll all meet in downward facing dog. Letting the breath really guide you, letting the heart begin to beat a little more once again. From downward dog, when you arrive, inhale deeply. Exhale, bend the knees, step or float, lift halfway, inhalation, top of the mat. Exhale, forward fold. Your inhale is chair. It's Utkatasana once again, moving into our second side. And maybe you don't like Utkatasana. I hear that all the time. It's like, I don't like chair. And usually when I ask people why they don't like chair, it's because it's hard. So maybe we just have to shift our mindset. What really is hard? If Utkatasana is the hardest thing we have to do today, our life is awesome. Our life rocks, guys. It's fabulous. Rolling the inner thighs down towards the mat. Lengthening the tailbone. You only have one more breath here, so it's your choice. Do you want to go deeper? Do you want to back out? It's up to you. That next exhalation is the forward fold, letting that all go. Inhale, halfway lift, Ardha. Exhale, flow through vinyasa. We'll meet in downward facing dog, finishing our second side before we put it all together. Left leg lifts from Adho Mukha, inhale. The exhale, high crescent, second side, Anjaneyasana. Front bent knee over the ankle, really lifting that heel. It tries to draw down towards the earth. Can you pull it up over the ankle? From here, big breath in, shoulder heads melt down. Knee taps, cactus arms, my friends. Exhalation, open up the heart, bend the back knee. Inhale, back up to the sky, everything's long. Exhale, maybe this one's deeper. Inhalation, back up, last one. It's all temporary. Exhalation, maybe that one's all the way down. Back up to the sky, high crescent lunge. Choose what you need in your hands, my friends. We move into Virabhadrasana 3, Warrior 3. This is about the core, without the momentum. It's about deciding that we don't rely on just flipping into a pose and instead on trusting ourselves. Long line of energy. Pull the tailbone down towards the lifted heel. You'll feel the frontal hip points lift. You'll feel those low abs engage. We need them. That's our safety belt, our low abs. And then just like before, do you want to close the eyes? What's the very first thing that happens when you do? No wrong answer. It's just a question. Inner left thigh softly pulling up to the sky. I know it's a long hold. I know that. I'll never give you guys anything you're not capable of. We just get to choose what we want to do with our energy. So take one more big breath in. And that exhale is the soft bend of the front knee. How slow can you move back into high crescent? How graceful and long and powerful can that be? Because that's a choice too. One more big breath here in high crescent. Lift the back ribs away from the pelvis. The exhale, hands softly draw towards the heart. Inhale, lengthen, fold over the front thigh. And here's your twist. Exhalation, drawing so that you can find your twisted high crescent lunge once again. And again, not relying on those external levers, not just pushing the elbow into the knee and the knee into the elbow. I mean, you can drive yourself into a little corkscrew like that, but can you move by inhaling the crown of the head away from the tailbone? And the exhale doesn't change the hips, it's working the obliques. Choose your variation here, my friends. Drop the back knee, open the arms, find a bind. What's best for you on a Tuesday? One more big deep breath, coming back to a space of grace and ease. And if you chose a variation, first, congratulations for listening to your body. But we will all meet in a twisted high crescent lunge. Hands will draw back towards the heart, pulling the belly in. And think about, before we even move, what it was like to lift up and off in towards your warrior 3. Pit of the abdomen has to come up so you can draw forward and not need the earth. Same concept here. Belly pulls in, tuck the front ribs, push over the back toes so you can softly lift the back leg up towards the front, and you'll find your twisted chair. Keep pulling the left hip back, evenness in the pelvis. It's just the rotation from the torso. Left obliques drive a little higher towards the sky. One more inhale here. That big exhalation. And soft inhalation, unfurling back and towards your chin. Big breath in, Utkatasana. If the thighs are working fiercely for you in fierce pose, just simply say thank you. The exhale is the forward fold, letting that all go. Inhale, halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, Vinyasa, move through. We'll all meet in downward facing dog, my friends. If the shoulders are getting burned out, if you're rounding in your chaturanga, again, throw the ego off the mat. It's smoke and mirrors, and we don't need it here. So listen to what's best for you. From downward facing dog, we'll softly shift forward, plank pose, and we'll lower all the way down to the belly. We've been opening up our psoas, we've been opening up our hamstrings today, because we need that as well besides core to really find an even back bend. So forehead stays in center, untucking the toes, palms draw back by the side hips once again. Spread the fingers, lift the wrists away from the side hips. Full Shalabhasana, full locust pose. Rolling the shoulder heads back, presenting the heart as it lifts up and off the mat and letting the thighs fly. We'll be moving from this pose into deeper back bend variations. So please remember, if this is where you want to stay today, just do that. Another inhale here, pulling the navel up and in. And see if you can stay lifted in Shalabhasana. Gently bending the left leg and then the right at the knees. And reaching back for the outer edges of the soles of the feet for Dhanurasana, bow pose. Beautiful extension, yes. Thighs are even. This is core. Remember where you needed to pick up and out to move into twisted chair. That's what you want to use here. Navel's pulling in. Concentrate on the breath. Pull the energy out of the fire. Take one more inhale here. Only go where you know you need to go today. And the exhale lets everything melt down to the earth. Non-doing. Slow movements. Come back to the breath. Sometimes we do self-sabotage. Not everybody does it, but there are people that do it, whether it's consciously or unconsciously. And it often comes from us stealing our own ideas and our own energy from ourselves because we don't feel worthy. Why would I achieve all of this if I'm not worthy of it? And then we kind of put a little kink in the road so that we don't arrive at that space, even though we do deserve it. But the more we choose to notice, the more we can rewrite our own story. You're your own author. You can have anything you want. That's pretty magical. It's very powerful too. Okay, my friends, finding a variation here. We're going to go a little bit deeper from Dhanurasana, bow pose. Please remember, if Dhanurasana is not part of your practice, you don't have to do it. Shalabhasana is there to support you, locust pose. Otherwise, forehead draws back to center. Bend both legs at the knees. Reach for the outer edges of the soles of the feet. Your inhale, your breath is your decision to rise into bow pose, Dhanurasana. I'd rather you stay low if the legs are drawing wide in a V shape than try to lift if the thighs aren't parallel. It'll go right into the back spine. So let the inhale lift you a little more. And please remember, stay here if you want. Otherwise, keep the right heel engaged towards your right glute, but release the grip of your right foot. Sweep the right hand towards the front of the room. Palm will face the midline. Notice if the right foot wants to move away from the body, can you hold it there? Gentle reaching back, right fingertips. Reach back for the right foot once again. You're in full bow pose. We'll switch sides. Gentle release of the left foot. Keep the left heel in towards the glute, the left leg lifted. Let those left fingertips float towards the front of the body. Plug the left shoulder head back. Find another inhale. Maybe you lift higher, shoulder blades into the chest. Gently sweeping the left fingertips back behind you. Once again, full Dhanurasana, full bow pose. Inhale, one more lift. This is the culmination of your energy and effort. And the exhale, let everything go. Release the muscle away from the bone. Take one more inhale here. Another exhale. Notice the quality of the breath, the quality of the mind. Energy is forged in fire. It's not the fire that burns and destroys, it is the one that makes us stronger. From here, my friends, forehead back to center, tuck the toes, ground the palms, inhale up through plank. And the exhale, hips up and back for downward facing dog. Big breath in, Adho Mukha, down dog. Exhalation, bend the knees, step or float to the top of the mat. Lift halfway on arrival. Inhale. And the exhale, forward fold, feet are hip width distance. Inhale, rise up to the sky. Upward facing hands, mountain pose. Exhale, forward fold, let the heart melt to the knees. Inhale, halfway lift, Ardha. Exhale, vinyasa, move through. Last flow for this morning, my friends. Let it be juicy. Let it be a reflection of what you need in the state of the body and in the state of the mind. From downward facing dog, when you arrive, big inhalation here. Exhale, begin to find plank pose, shifting forward, long line of energy, and with control, we'll lower down to the belly. Maybe that's 1 count, maybe it's 5, maybe it's 10. It's always your choice. And when you arrive, untuck the toes, and we'll gently flip over onto our backs like little pancakes, little quesadillas, little waffles. Thank God I don't have a waffle maker. It would just be a disaster in my house. I'd find a way to eat waffles for dinner. It would just be bad. Okay, my friends. If you're dying, you're just itching today for an additional back bend, such as bridge pose or Urdhva Dhanurasana, of course, I want you to listen to your body, but that was a lot of very deep back bending. So we're going to neutralize the spine with a little bit of twists. By bending both legs at the knees, soles of the feet are hip width distance. And from here, we'll first find thread the needle, lifting the right ankle, crossing it over the left thigh, and reaching up to interlace the fingers under the now lifted left leg. Both feet are flexed at the ankles. Drawing the right hip and right knee softly away from the right shoulder to invoke space. I love to work, I love to sweat. For me, the reason I enjoy that is not actually the need to look like something or be something, but for me, it helps with a state of mental health. So when we do get to choose what supports the mental health the most, I notice that we just feel lighter, more alive, more present. And it is still May, which is Mental Health Awareness Month. From here, my friends, soft release of the left leg back down towards the mat, and we'll find our cross-legged twist. Letting the right thigh slide over the left, opening the arms wide, rooting that right shoulder as the cross legs melt to your left-hand side. If that feels too much, you can uncross the thighs. If you'd like to deepen it, you can gaze away from the knees. You can also wrap the back foot around the back calf, the way we do in eagle pose, but just here in a twist on your back. May we remember that we deserve our energy, that we deserve what we've manifested, what we deserve, what we've come up with, our work, both physically and emotionally, because we know we have to put the work in. But that doesn't mean that it's easy. But I know you guys. Yeah, I know you guys. We don't do easy, do we? Navel pulls in, inhale, knees drop back up towards the sky. If you chose the cross-legged twist, you're welcome to uncross the thighs. Feet draw back hip width distance parallel, and we'll find Supta 4, thread the needle, second side. Left ankle, right thigh, interlacing fingers, flexing the feet, shoulder heads are soft. No effort. No effort. A lot of us, our practices have changed during this shelter-in-place time. But they really require a huge amount of dedication to find your sadhana when we're not specifically leaving the house to go to a studio, when there's not that exact moment that you have to walk in the door and find that exact parking place you need. And I don't mean this lightly at all. Congratulations for showing up to your mat. It's one of the very hardest things to do, especially when it's self-driven without an exterior appointment. You should be really proud of yourself during this time. Gently releasing the lifted leg down towards the mat, we'll find a cross-legged twist, or maybe for you, it's a parallel thigh twist today. Again, left thigh slides over the right, open up the arms, palms face the sky. Roll the outer edge of the left shoulder head down as the knees melt to your right hand side. Choose how deep you want to go today. Maybe it's just gentle, and that's okay too. Quality of the mind, quality of the body, quality of the breath. Navel will pull in, knees will rise back up towards the sky. We'll uncross the thighs and hug both knees in towards the chest for Apanasana, knees to chest pose. Doing or non-doing, rocking, rolling, or stillness. We often know the answer to the questions we ask, even if it's something as small as, what do I want to do in Apanasana today? We remember we can listen to ourselves with trust. Finding Ananda Vilasana this morning together. Happy baby. Reaching out for the outer edges of the soles of the feet, stacking the ankles over the knees, letting the thighs melt around the body. And if reaching for the feet is stressful or rounds the spine, lifts the tailbone, you don't have to do that. We're looking for the length of the spine. So you can always reach for the outer edges of the calves, the shins. 2 breaths here, my friends, and we're all done for the morning. Big inhale, deep into the nose. Let this be the biggest breath of the day. Big exhalation. Maybe it's open mouth. Maybe you can feel that heat come out of the body. One more here, big inhale. And that big exhalation once again as we release the legs and we set up for Shavasana. Maybe you're going to leave your mat today and find legs up the wall. Maybe you did have a bolster or a blanket nearby that you'd like to use to help pad the body or find support. Regardless, may you give yourself the permission to melt We will never work for a pose in this room or any other together. This is the only space we'll ever work for because it's the space of release and peace. Shavasana. Beginning to gently deepen the breath. Maybe there's movement in the fingers, the toes. You stretch up and out and take up all the space in the world. From here, we'll gently draw the knees in towards the chest. Find our way to our sides. We'll meet one another in a comfortable seated position. As the sit bones root and the crown rises, moving from the foundation we create into the wisdom we already have. May we remember what we've worked for, we deserve. We don't have to explain ourselves. We can choose how we regulate and move the energy in our body so that we're not stealing from ourselves and we're not stealing from others. So that in the end, what we're moving from is towards a place of peace. On a Taco Tuesday, my friends, beautiful practice. As always, I wish you a good one. Namaste. So lovely to have you guys this morning. As always, I'm honored that you choose to spend time with us, time with me during your busy mornings. If you have any questions about any of the philosophy or the asana, the postures we did today, you know you can always reach out to me. I'm happy to help in any way I can. Otherwise, I hope to see you guys on Thursday morning or maybe Friday at 6 for the Restore class. And I hope you guys have a great Taco Tuesday.